Douglas, picked up by Al Sims. And now Douglas has the puck with Peter Lee on him. Douglas on the rush. Taken away by Rod Schutt for Pittsburgh. Schutt centers for Lee. It's knocked away by Sims and picked up by Douglas. 2-on-2 with Miller. Douglas across the line, offside. Miller half a step ahead of the play. And offside Hartford. Looking at big Ron Stackhouse.
Yeah, Ron Stackhouse. He started with California Golden Seals. He was their second pick, 18th overall, back in the 1969 amateur draft. He's in his 13th NHL season. He's big, he's tall, he's rangy, good positional player, and possesses a fine shot.
Penguins with the puck in their own zone. Hooked out to center. Peter Lee can't control. This is Al Sims for Hartford. Off the boards to Jordy Douglas. Douglas cross ice for Keon. Goes by him, and Warren Miller fires it in. Millen out to stop it behind the net. Hooks it into the corner. Jordy Douglas has been playing well of late. Battling along the boards with Stackhouse. Hook free. Keon centering pass to Miller. Miller trying to get Douglas. It's off his skate, and the Penguins break out 2-on-2. Now 3-on-2. Schutt breaks wide. Schutt drops it off. A shot deflects wide, comes through, and up the near side, and picked up by the Whalers. Douglas sends out Keon. Keon across the line. Keon looking in deep, trying to get it through for Miller. It was blocked. Keon picks it up, ridden into the boards by Burrows, and Greg Malone comes back for Pittsburgh. Greg Malone, number 12, on the rush. Malone straight down the middle, tries to get it through. He's pulled down, and Warren Miller has the puck. Now Tommy Abrahamson sends it up ahead for Knackbauer, and out to center, intercepted by Mark Johnson. Johnson comes to the line, drops it in. Got to wait for Peter Lee to come out of the zone. Mark Howe on the rush for Hartford, number 5. Out of center with Johnson on him, fires it in off a stick. Millen plays it. Millen drops it behind the net. Hamilton sends it up the boards for Libet. Libet centers to Johnson. Mark Johnson on the rush, number 9. Loses control, taken away from him by Rowe. Johnson gets back, drops it in center, and it's blocked and taken away by Mike Fiddler. Fiddler fires it in, blocked at the line by the Penguins. Loose puck in center. Picked up by Mark Howe. Sends to Michel Galarneau, throws it in. Behind the net, Greg Millen plays it for the Penguins. Wraps it around for Libet. Libet is checked into the boards, fires it out to center. Played by Al Sims. Now Howe, lead for Galarneau. Hooked away from him. From the point, Rowe in front, and Fiddler missed the deflection. Picked up by Nick Libet. Drops it to Carlisle. Carlisle, number 25, with Fiddler hacking at him. Fires it in. Garrett plays it behind the net. Throws it into the corner. Picked up by Tom Rowe. Rowe sends out Galarneau. Galarneau, number 16, drives it from the line, off a stick, way up into the crowd. And stopping play with 8:41 to go first period, and no score in this game. And upcoming on ESPN, we have really a great program for you. A year-end special, December 31st at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific, New Year's Eve, when 4 of the nation's most respected sports writers join SportsCenter's George Brand for a look back at the year in sports. We have Dick Young of the New York Daily News, Milt Richmond of UPI, Will Grimsley, that is, of the Associated Press, and New York Times essayist Red Smith. It should be a great night of sports for you. Reflections on Sports 1980, December 31st, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific on ESPN, your total sports network. Sam Rosen with Eddie Westfall live at the Hartford Civic Center. And no score, Eddie.
No score. Good hockey game. Good skating. Some good body checking. Good positional play by both teams.
And there's a goal from outside from center ice. Al Sims throwing it in. And a deflected pass, Greg Millen. And as soon as we said no score, here's a goal.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not a very good goal. Greg Millen lets this one in. That shot has to be close to 80 feet. It's not a great shot. It's not a hard shot. It can't be from out there. And Greg Millen just misplayed it completely. He stuck his leg out to make the save and hit his leg and deflected into the net. Al Sims, his 11th goal of the season, the first goal of the hockey game.
1-0. Hartford leads it. Barnes keeps it in for the Whalers, and a penalty upcoming on the Hartford Whalers with 8:14 to go in this first period. The Pittsburgh Penguins will skate on the power play. Looks like a charging call.
Don Knackbauer, number 26. for the Whalers is going off. It could be a cross-checking penalty. It could be charging as he knocked number 11, George Ferguson, for the Pittsburgh Penguins down from behind.
Charging is the call. Don Nackbauer goes for 2, so the Penguins will play with a man advantage.
At the last minute to change his mind as we look at Nackbauer taking Ferguson into the boards heavily.
Back live, Faubert hit the far post on a drive from the right side. Penguins with a man advantage. Paul Gardner, number 30, out to Faubert, who drives one off the... Another save. That one might have hit the post, too. One post, that one was a save.
That was a save by Garrett, Sam. Good save. In some heavy traffic, he was screened.
Loose puck behind the net. Miller doing some good checking. Penguins wrap it around. Howe keeps it in for the Whalers, who are down a man. Deflects off a stick. Faubert for Pittsburgh, number 5. Firing 2 good shots at John Garrett. Penguins with a man advantage. They trail 1-0. Paul Gardner, number 30, on the rush to center. Gardner sends it in. Around the other side, Keogh puts it behind the net. Gardner battles with Barnes. Loose puck behind the net. Lonsberry out to Carlisle from the circle. Save Garrett. Carlisle goes back to get it. Keogh behind the net. Keogh looking in front. Has Lonsberry and Gardner there. Throws it into the circle. Carlisle in deep. Behind the net to Keogh. Keogh, big crowd out in front. Somebody got a stick in the back of the net. The back of the neck rather than. It's Lonsberry putting it through the legs of John Garrett. And we're tied at 1-1.
Well, it happened at one end, and now it's happened at the other as Ross Lonsberry takes the play. Kehoe cross to the point. Number 5, Faubert, in to Ross Lonsberry, and he missed the shot, and Garrett also missed the shot, and it went right between his legs. Norm Barnes on the side of the net trying to keep that way clear as Ross Lonsberry looks up to take the shot. The puck actually trickled off the heel of his stick.
To Hamilton, the shot saved. Rebound, thrown in front, goal! Mark Johnson! Beautiful setup from Levitt. And it's 2-1 Pittsburgh, and Mark Johnson, the former Olympian hero, puts it in for the Penguins.
Well, Mark Johnson had no problem with this, but a good play started in the corner with Nick Levitt, and he makes the play across the ice. And Mark Johnson, the one-time Olympian, pops it into the open net, giving the Pittsburgh Penguins a 2-1 lead on a nice passing play. Nick Levitt, my kind of hockey player, Sam. He's a very industrious, up and down, honest kind of player that every team needs.
Whalers clear it out. This is Neufeld across the line, tied up by Burrows, who rides him down. Loose puck in the corner, and they freeze it along the boards with 5:33 to go. Mark Johnson, his 8th goal of the year, assisted by Levitt and Hamilton at 14:08. And I thought on that goal, Eddie, that Garrett left the rebound, wasn't sure whether to go out and clear it into the corner or not, just let it sit there.
He was waiting for his defenseman to clear it for him, and no one was there to do it, as Jack McElhargy got left out of position, and that left Randy Johnson wide open to put that pass in. He had no trouble handling it, and a whole net to shoot it in.
Face-off in the Pittsburgh zone. Scoring 2 goals in 1 minute and 5 seconds to take a 2-1 lead. Fatiu wins the draw. Abrahamson, a drive, goes wide. Picked up by Nackbauer, scores! So, once again, the defenseman not doing the job in front of the net. And Don Nackbauer has tied it up for the Hartford Whalers, just like that. 5:28 to go, and suddenly, after more than half of scoreless period, we've got 4 goals in a couple of minutes.
Nick Fatiu gets the draw back, and Abramson lets the shot go from the point. It's a good shot. It's low. It hit the backboard, bounced right out in front, and Pittsburgh, their defensemen, both going after the fellow that got the draw, Fatiu, and leaves Nackbauer all alone in front of the net, and he puts it by Millen, his 4th goal of the season.
14:32 the time, 2-2 the score. Fatiu and Abrahamson got the assist on the goal by Don Nackbauer. Here's Rick Keogh going in deep, poked away by Barnes. Stoughton knocks it out. Rogers in the race for the puck. Rogers can fly, try to center for Boutet. Tied up there in the corner. Loose puck sent across. Keogh picks it up for Pittsburgh. Bodies falling down all over the place here. Here's Paul Gardner. Drops it for Keogh. Keogh in the corner, throws it through the crease. Up the near side, poked out to center by Stoughton. Back the other way. And an offside Pittsburgh. And Lee couldn't get a good shot off. Picked up by Keon, and Keon comes out. Keon fires it in. Played behind the net by Millen. Wraps it around the boards. Loose along the boards there. Mark Johnson pokes it back behind his own net. Millen leaves for Stackhouse. Stackhouse ahead for Mark Johnson. Out to center, Nick Libet, number 14. And Libet carries. Left side for Johnson, throws it in. Loose puck behind the net, picked up by Mark Howe. And Howe on the rush for the Whalers. 3 minutes to go, first period. Loses to Hamilton. Johnson with a drive, save Garrett. And he decides to hold on. A whistle stops play with 2:55 to go. We're tied 2-2. Right point, drives one, knocked down in front. And picked up by Blaine Stoughton. Tries to lead Rogers. Intercepted Lunsbury, who kept it in. Behind the net, Paul Gardner. Loose puck in the corner. Stoughton up the boards. Carlisle interception, shoots wide. Penalty being called by Van Hellemond. It's on the Hartford Whalers.
The holding penalty by the looks of it, Sam.
Midway through, it's a face-off. Look at this. Whoops. Al Sims. Look at that wild slap shot, and he scores. Greg Millen not too happy with his play there. He sort of fell asleep. 1-0 Whalers. Pittsburgh is going to come right back, though. Ross Lonsberry passes off to Mario Faubert. Only his second goal of the year, and we're not at 1. Pittsburgh will go ahead right here. Nick Libet with a centering pass to Olympian Mark Johnson through the legs of Johnny Garrett. It is 2-1 Penguins. But Nick Fotiu and the Whalers come back to Tommy Abrahamson, tying it up, and we're all knotted at 2.
Rogers' 30th assist of the season. It's the 6th. Here's an interception. Malone goes in, but offside Pittsburgh. 17:09 to go in the second period. Around. Here comes Carlisle. Shot deflected in front. Loose in the corner. And we got a whistle. A penalty called.
There'll be a hold rated from the point man, Sam. You've got to have the good point man in order to have the good power play, as witnessed by the New York Islanders, Dennis Potvin, Stephon Pearson.
In center, Hamilton fires back to Russ Anderson. Back out to the Hartford zone. Mark Howe is there. Howe fires it out. Fiddler, cross ice for Rowe, intercepted by Anderson. Loose puck in center. Johnson is hit hard by Howe. Norm Barnes, blocked. Jim Hamilton, number 28, with a puck. Tries to throw it in front. It's blocked. Breaking out is McBauer. He falls down, gets up. Rather Galarno. Then he loses. Whistle is upcoming. Delayed penalty upcoming on the Penguins. Whalers get an extra skater on ice. 6-on-5. A delayed penalty called. Rowe with the puck for Hartford. Now the whistle blows as Pittsburgh touches the puck, and Jim Hamilton will go off, and the Whalers will have a power play advantage.
Well, it's a give-and-take world, and this is it tonight. The power plays have been working fairly well.
Number 28, Jim Hamilton.
Jim Hamilton gets the 2-minute tripping penalty, and actually, in a sense, that was unfair, as number 26, Don Knockbauer, seemed to be falling.
I agree with you.
As Jim Hamilton reaches out to check him, Knockbauer was on his way down, and the referee, Andy Van Hellemond, gives Hamilton the penalty, 2 minutes for tripping. So the Hartford Whalers now have their turn to see what they can do with a power play.
Van Hellemond, one of the best referees in the National Hockey League, but I think that time the dive may have influenced him a little bit.
He doesn't get the opportunity to see it like we do on the replay. Maybe he'd like to have that one back.
Check the monitor, Andy. 5-on-4, Whalers skating advantage. 3-3 the score. This is Abrahamson taking it in deep. Fires a backhander through the crease. Up the far side, Howe pokes it in deep. Faubert for Pittsburgh. Loose puck behind the net. Carlisle rips it around, and out to center it comes. All the way down. John Garrett comes out. Pokes it away from Lee. Mark Howe for Hartford. Whalers power play advantage. Abrahamson circles behind the net. Sends it up to Mark Howe. Cross ice for Rogers. Rogers, nice pass to Stoughton, but offside. Offside Hartford. Boutet was still in the zone. 1:17 to go on the penalty to Jim Hamilton.
Little down his wing.
Whalers dig it free. Miller back to the point. Al Sims couldn't keep it in, and the Whalers will have to clear out. Keon in center has the puck. Hartford skating 5-on-4. Keon sends it in. Carlisle bats it off the boards. Whalers keep it in. Loose in the corner. Miller tied up. Keon has the puck. Throws it in front. It's knocked away by Millen, and he covers up. 11:54 to go, second period. 15 seconds to go on the Hartford power play, and 3-3 is the score. Fine move by Keon in front.
Dave Keon, give him an inch and look out as he brings the puck out of the corner, makes the play at the net. Number 11, Ferguson, had a chance to check him, let him go. Carlisle finally does as Keon got his second shot at the puck. Greg Millen finally got a hand on it to freeze it, stop the play. Dave Keon left alone coming out from the side of the net.
Whalers with a man advantage. 15 seconds left. The penalty to Pittsburgh's Jim Hamilton. Keon against Johnson on the draw. Whalers have the puck. Warren Miller in the corner. Miller out to the point. Sims with a drive. It goes wide. In the corner. Carlisle clears all the way down. That'll do it. Hamilton is back. The teams are at full strength. Al Sims for Hartford on the rush. Out to Keon in center. Keon lost it. And it's cleared all the way down by Pittsburgh. Comes on goal. John Garrett leaves it for Mark Howe. Around the boards, out to center, offside Pittsburgh as Stackhouse carried it in. 11:20 left, second period. 3-3 to score. We'll be back in just a moment.
Back to that seesaw battle we saw at the beginning of the first period. Scoring has slowed down somewhat.
In the corner, Al Sims takes a hit. Loose puck. Patiu cannot clear. Stackhouse throws it in deep. Patiu ties up McAdam. They battle in the corner. Sims comes in. Patiu still battling. Ferguson there. McAdam pokes it free. Loose in the near corner. Norm Barnes from Pat Hughes. And they'll freeze it along the boards with 10:52 to go in the second period. 3-3 the score. We were tied 2-2 end of one. He's having a good season.
Much better. He seems to have found a home. Native New York boy. He was Whalers' pick in the expansion draft in '79. And big, strong, and one of the most likable guys away from the game of hockey.
And the key this season for Nicky is he's staying on the ice. He's not taking bad penalties.
The key to a lot of players' success, and you see that more and more, Sam, a lot less of that bullish type attitude that some players used to think they had to use.
Puck coming all the way down. Loose. And picked up by Pat Hughes for Pittsburgh. Cross ice Ferguson. Ferguson on the rush. Ferguson takes it in. Hook checked away from him. Patiu clears it out. Greg Millen plays it for Pittsburgh behind the net. Now Ron Stackhouse. Russ Anderson. A lead for Ferguson. A little too far for McAdam. McAdam goes into the corner. Tied up by Sims. Puck is loose and Al Sims has it for Hartford. Up to Patiu. Hooked away from him. Shot by Gardner was blocked. Caroms to the near boards. Mark Howe has it there. Fires it across. And Al Sims for Hartford. Ray Neufeld has to stop and get it. Loses to Gardner. And Howe takes it away from him. Mark Howe puts it behind the net. Keogh intercepts to Gardner. In front, it's blocked. And cleared by Al Sims all the way down. And Faubert is back. We get a touch for icing. 9:35 to go second period. 3-3 the score. Scorers in this second period. Blaine Stout at 3:33 and Rick Keogh for Pittsburgh at 4:27. And that's the scoring here in the second period. We are Keogh the wraparound backhander score. It is 4-3 Pittsburgh, and it looks like Rick Keogh has scored another.
27 if it stays as his goal, Sam. Rick Keogh goes behind the net as Ross Lonsbury ties up Jack McElhargy. 17. Rick Keogh winds around the net untouched, makes the backhand shot, and it was late getting in. It could be Paul Gardner that had something. It's Gardner has scored the goal. Paul Gardner getting the goal. His 10th goal of the season to put Pittsburgh ahead 4-3.
Keogh gets the assist. Keon on the rush for Hartford, pokes it in deep. Miller in the corner. Miller behind the net. He looks for the wraparound. He's pulled down. No call. Out come the Penguins 2-on-1. Malone with Lee on the right. Malone goes in. Malone shoots wide. Took it in too deep. Picked up by Howe. Out to center. Intercepted by Stackhouse. Tied up by Keon. Kicks it free. Comes to Greg Malone. Malone leads Shutt across the line. Shutt tied up by Miller. Shutt back past Burrows. Wrist shot gloved by Garrett. Drops it at his feet. Now comes up with Malone tied up by Norm Barnes in front.
As is often the case, Sam, the assist on that particular goal, of course, should go to Kehoe, but the fellow that did a lot of the work to get the puck loose, Ross Lonsbury, as he took Jack McElhargy into the corner. Lonsbury takes McElhargy out of the play, and the puck caromed off the boards to Kehoe, who came around the net, let the shot go, and Gardner tipped it. It hit the goaltender, Garrett, and slowly trickled over him into the net.
Whalers try to come out. Jordy Douglas poked away from him by Shutt. Malone sends it back in. Pittsburgh leading it 4-3. 7.5 minutes to go, second period. Howe at his own end. Met by Shutt. Wraps it around the other way. Kept in by Libet. Mark Howe for Hartford. Comes up the middle of Keon. Sticks it over to Jordy Douglas. Back for Keon. In the Pittsburgh zone, Jim Hamilton plays it for the Penguins, who lead 4-3 on the goal by Paul Gardner. Hamilton on the rush, weaves his way and fires. Leg save made by Garrett. Along the boards. Good check by Johnson, but Al Sims has the puck for the Whalers. Al Sims, number 3, with Mark Johnson forechecking. Up the boards, intercepted by Libet. Cross ice behind Hamilton, and out to center it comes. Tom Rowe on the fly. Rowe goes in, tries to lead in front. Shot. Delarno's a save by Millen, who was down on the ice. Back comes Johnson to center, poked away from him. Penguins in control. Carlisle has the puck. Gives it over to Hamilton. Now Randy Carlisle. Cross ice Faubert. Out to Hamilton. Loses. Abrahamson pulls him down. A penalty call. 6:25 to go. Second period. 4-3. Pittsburgh leading it. We'll be back in a moment.
Right at the blue line of the Hartford Whalers. Gets an arm lock on Shutt, pulls him down, gets 2 minutes for holding, and Pittsburgh again a power play.
Penguins have 2 power play goals in this game. Out in center, Whalers down a man, control it. Here's a lead for Howe. Howe goes in. Howe goes too deep behind the net. Throws it in front, it's blocked. He almost had an empty net. Great rush by Mark Howe. Keogh takes it away. Howe digging there. Keogh leaves it for Carlisle. Now the Penguins set up the power play. Dave Keon forechecking. Gardner pokes it up ahead for Rick Keogh. Keogh gets away from Mark Howe. Keogh pokes it ahead for Faubert. Faubert takes it in deep against McElhargy. Drops it up the boards for Gardner. Poke free by Warren Miller.
That move by Mark Howe around the net was thwarted by who else? Rick Keogh defensively doing a good job taking it away from Howe.
Faubert the drive. Save Garrett. Rebound is loose. And saved in front by Miller. It's still loose. Still a loose puck. And finally Van Hellemond blows the whistle with a pile-up in front. Warren Miller went into the crease and made the save.
He certainly did. Garrett getting a lot of help. A lot of bodies in front of Garrett, the goaltender. McElhargy down. Faubert, the point man for Pittsburgh, is down at the side of the net. The puck is still loose, though, as the original shot comes from number 5, Faubert. Rebound in quickly as Ross Lonsbury. He hits the side of the net. Garrett is checked from the side. Howe knocked down number 30, Paul Gardner. A lot of bodies. They finally tied up the puck, but Andy Van Hellemond in a good position, and he could see that the puck was not held, so play continued.
Tommy Abrahamson in the penalty box. 1:05 to go in his holding penalty. 5:29 to go, second period. Pittsburgh leading it 4-3, and a chance to add to that lead. They have a man advantage. Greg Malone and Blaine Stoughton on the faceoff in the Hartford zone. Mark Johnson, Ron Stackhouse, Shutt out to Johnson, left point. He drives one, kicked away, rebound, score! Rod Shutt, the third power play Pittsburgh Penguins, and they lead it 5-3.
Broad shot, his 13th goal of the season. Good passing by the Pittsburgh Penguins. The shot by Carlisle, saved by Garrett. Rebound, he had the whole net. He didn't miss any of it. And Broad shot puts in the power play goal.
Time of the goal, 14:39.
Puck in front. Carlisle was trying to cover Fatiu.
Now let's see if Fatiu's in the crease here, Eddie.
Well, he is in the crease. There's no question about it. How he got there is the difference.
Right.
Did he get pushed in, or did he go in on his own? And obviously, referee Van Helleman must feel that he was pushed in because the goal counts. Knockbauer is being credited with the goal, which only says that it did hit Randy Carlisle as it deflected past Greg Millen.
5-4 the score. Pittsburgh leading. Knockbauer's second goal of the game. Russ Anderson for Pittsburgh fires the save. Garrett, he tries to cover up and finally does. Mark Johnson tied up in front. Whistle blows, stopping play. 4:26 to go. And just like the first period, Eddie, started quietly and then exploded.
Boom, then they all of a sudden turned it all loose, and the goals came from everywhere. The last time these two teams met, Hartford defeated Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh 5-2, and there were 5 different scorers for the Whalers.
Johnson on the faceoff. And Johnson and Galarno. Galarno will stay. Johnson is chased. And Galarno is chased. Rowe against Hamilton on the face. Crowd has really come alive off that goal by Knockbauer for Hartford. Norm Barnes tied up by Johnson. Penguins keep it in. Anderson lead for Johnson. Back pass. Stackhouse. He shoots. It's off the stick. Caroms off the glass. Hamilton plays it. Hamilton throws it in deep. Libet behind the net for Pittsburgh, number 14. Nick Libet back behind the net to Mark Johnson, number 9. Out to Libet. Back pass Stackhouse. In deep. On the near side, Jim Hamilton. Hamilton hit by Barnes. Rowe hit by Libet. Bodies banging all over the place. Johnson with a puck. Throws it in deep. Hamilton hit by Sims. Still loose in the corner. And now Sims ties it up and freezes it against the boards. 3:41 to go. And probably the smart play at that point.
It's a game of mistakes, and at both ends, there's enough of them. Number 28, Jim Hamilton makes the play. Nick Libet does not handle the puck. He directs it straight at the net, and it's by goaltender Garrett. Nick Libet, his 4th goal of the season, puts Pittsburgh back in front, 6-5 in this wide, wild open hockey game.
We are running out of room on the score sheet. Minute and a half to go. Second period. Pittsburgh 6, Hartford 5. It was 2-2 end of 1. Norm Barnes tied up at the line. Mark Johnson comes back for the Penguins. Johnson across the line with Hamilton. Johnson shoots it on goal, stick to side by Garrett. Barnes plays the rebound, fires it out to center. Jordy Douglas, lead for Abrahamson. He breaks through, it's hooked away, and a penalty upcoming. A penalty called on the Penguins. It's a hooking call, and the Hartford Whalers will have a man advantage.
1 minute and 5 seconds. Sam, this is wild, this game. 1 minute and 5 left here in the second period.
Stoughton shot is knocked wide by Millen. Rebound is loose. Stoughton has it in the corner. Out to the point to Sims. Sims in deep for Rogers. Rogers throws it out to Howe. Howe with a wrist shot, kicked wide. Rogers in the circle. Rogers along the boards. Back out to Sims. Mark Howe right point. In deep for Rogers. It's deflected by Lee. Lee with a puck. Tries to clear. Knocked down by Sims. It's hooked free. Howe knocked away from him. Boutet has it for Hartford. 20 seconds to go in the period. Lead for Sims. Sims throws it in deep. It's blocked by a sliding defenseman, Ron Stackhouse. Mark Howe, right point, drives it. Score! It's a power play goal. The 8th goal of the period. We are tied 6-6. Mark Howe scores it.
Shot by Mark Howe. It's right along Sims back to Howe at the right point, and number 5, Howe lets it go. Looked like it hit the inside of Greg Millen, the goaltender's leg, and deflected into the net, a little bit similar to the one Sims scored, but the shot was not quite as long. So Mark Howe, his 13th goal of the season, brings this game back to a tie at 6 apiece.
We have 5 seconds to go in this second period. What a period of hockey this has been.
Blaine Stoughton is going to get a pass from Mike Rogers here in slow-mo. And look at that. Beautiful scoring motion there. It is 3-2 Whalers. But Rick Kehoe scores after a missed shot by Randy Carlisle and a save by Garrett, and we're knotted at 3. As you saw our Tommy Mees talking with Paul Gardner, well, here you see the young man. Does a beautiful sweep job there. Hiring for a janitor right here, huh? He doesn't miss it all, huh? Paul Gardner, 4-3 Penguins. Rod Schutt will score on a power play goal as Mark Johnson misses, and it's 5-3 Penguins. But the Whalers are just determined. They refuse to stay down. Don Knockbauer shoots. Nick Vittillo's going to get the rebound. Randy Carlisle will push it into the crease, and it is 5-4 Penguins. So as you see, there's Mike Rogers scoring again to make it 5-all. Libet and Hamilton are going to get a beautiful number right here. And that makes it 6-5 Pittsburgh. And Mark Howe is going to be involved in a power play to tie it all up. And this is where we are, folks. This is crazy. It is 6-6, 8 goals.
Third period, his second goal of the game, and Hartford leads 7-6.
The coach just turned around, looked up, put his eyes in the top of his head, and wondered what is going on as Blaine Stoughton comes in across the blue line. A wrist shot that should not beat any goaltender in the National Hockey League. And not only did it beat him, Millen was way out of his net. He should have been able to cut the angle down, but he didn't. So Stoughton gets his 17th goal of the season, his second goal of the game, and Hartford have now taken the lead 7-6.
Back and forth we go. The Whalers have now scored 4 goals to the Penguins 1 to the point when Pittsburgh led 5-3. Loose puck at the Hartford blue line. Whistle for a stick above the shoulder. We are just 40 seconds into the third period. And the Hartford Whalers leading it 7-6. Blaine Stoughton, his 17th goal. Boutet and Howe get the assist. Pat Boutet has 3 assists in the game. Mark Howe now with a goal and an assist, giving him 44 points on the season. He's the top scoring defenseman in the NHL. Out in center ice, Stackhouse fires it back in for Pittsburgh. And a whistle stops play. The linesman got hurt. The linesman
Bonney is down. He got hit with the shot by Ron Stackhouse. Stackhouse was trying to clear the puck in to Hartford's end of the ice. The puck hit him. He went down heavily. He's on one knee now. He seems to be all right. Talking with the trainer, the Hartford Whalers.
Correction on the
Stackhouse, number 3, lets the puck go, deflects off the boards, hit him in the leg.
Loose puck in center, picked up by Fiddler. Fiddler to the line, backhands it in, and back out to center it comes. Now Mark Howe for Hartford, out to center to Mike Fiddler. Fiddler runs into Schutt and throws it in. Stackhouse wraps it around for Russ Anderson. Across to Mark Johnson. Johnson has had himself quite a game for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He has a goal and a couple of assists. This is Mike Rogers. Drops it at the blue line. It's out in center ice. Hartford 7, Pittsburgh 6. Offside. Offside the call on Hartford. We have gone 1 minute and 40 seconds into this third period. We've only had 1 goal.
Things are slowing down.
Hartford Whalers playing some good hockey of late. They've lost only once in their last 6, 2 losses in their last 9 games. And they're moving closer to the 500 mark. They're 11th overall in the NHL. This is Faubert across the line. Takes it in deep, centering pass, and shot just missed the deflection. Here's Warren Miller back for the Whalers. Miller drops it for Keon. Keon poked away by Carlisle. They battle in the corner, and they freeze it. 17:52 to go in the game. Hartford leading at 7-6. We'll be back in just a moment. Carlisle comes up slowly with Mike Rogers forechecking, gives it to Faubert. Faubert headmans to Gardner across the line. Drops it right to Keogh's shot is blocked. Howe bangs it off the board for Rogers. It clears it to center. Nice setup for Keogh. This is Bouquet with a drive, and it trickles wide as Millen got a piece of it. Bouquet in the corner, tied up by Faubert. Gardner tries to poke it free. Whistle blows. Good job by Pat Bouquet.
Good hustle. Pat Bouquet, number 28, came to the Hartford Whalers for Bob Stevenson, right winger in 1979. Played for Toronto 4.5 years. His second year now with the Whalers as Gardner to Kehoe. Good shot, good save by Garrett. Kind of unusual to see goaltenders making a good save. Millen almost blew the shot by Bouquet.
That's right.
Again, it hit him on the right inside leg, deflected to the corner.
Whalers are down a man, and they're putting the pressure on. Rogers is hit down by Johnson. Puck picked up by Greg Malone. Around to Stackhouse. Penguins with a power play advantage. Now Rod Schutt comes out. Schutt, number 27, across the line. Schutt in deep against McElhargy. Back to the point of Stackhouse. Stackhouse in deep to Greg Malone. Malone behind the net. Ferguson in the corner, hit by Mark Howe. Bouquet is ridden down. Loose puck. Johnson to Stackhouse. He drives it high off the glass. Picked up by Ferguson. 35 seconds to go on the Pittsburgh power play. Mark Johnson with a puck. Across to Stackhouse. Stackhouse moves in, shoots, hit the post. Stackhouse in the corner. Stackhouse tries to throw it in front. And Bouquet clears all the way down.
Ron Stackhouse hits the goalpost earlier. He tried to pick the top right-hand corner from the point position. Shot it over the net.
Penguins with one more rush come to center. Malone feeds Keogh across the line. Keogh pulls up. 5 seconds to go on the power play. Drop to Carlisle. He shoots. It caroms wide over the goal. Picked up by Keogh. Keogh battles with Barnes. Miller is back on ice. The team's at full strength. It's poked free. Keogh for Pittsburgh. Keogh puts it behind the net. Sims wraps it around the boards. Faubert keeps it in. Malone in the corner, hit by Sims. Loose puck in the corner. Picked up by Stoughton for Hartford. And he wraps it around the boards. Warren Miller comes out. Miller. Right wing Stoughton breaks through. And Millen has the puck. Wraps it around the boards. Hughes sends it out. This is George Ferguson. Ferguson goes in. Backhands one wide. He was tied up by Sims. Loose puck. Norm Barge for Hartford. Out to center. Carlisle. Back to center. Pat Hughes. Hughes with Pettillo on him. Gary McAdam has the puck. Crowd likes to check by Nick Pettillo and the job he did. 14:35 to go in the game. Stackhouse pass off the stick. Sims for Hartford. Sims leads Snackbauer. Penalty call on the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the Whalers will have a man advantage.
Interference is the call by Andy Van Ellemond on Ron Stackhouse as he takes the feet out from underneath number 26, Don Knockbauer.
2 minutes interference.
Upcoming on ESPN. Mark Howe throws it in front for Rogers. Puts it behind the net for Bouquet. Back for Rogers. Tied up by Mark Johnson. Rogers pulled down. Abrahamson drives the score.
A deflected shot. Abramson takes the shot from the point, and it hits number 5 in front of the net. deflected into the open side of the net past Greg Millen. So the Hartford Whalers 8-6 now over the Pittsburgh Penguins on a power play goal by Abramson.
Poor Greg Millen was standing there looking, saying, what happened? 8-6.
Scored by number 6, Tommy Abraham.
Tommy Abrahamson gets the goal. He has 3 assists and a goal in this game. Boutet for the Whalers. Boutet leads Howe. Howe in deep. Howe tied up by Stackhouse. They battle in the corner. And a penalty coming up. Boutet pulled down Gardner. And Boutet's going to go.
Pat Boutet in a seesaw of penalties has got a penalty. Andy Van Helleman gives him the penalty for hooking 2 minutes just after Abramson had scored his 4th goal of the season.
Hartford penalty,
a power play goal to put Hartford ahead 8-6.
I think, Eddie, the only thing missing in this game is a penalty shot. Otherwise, we've seen it all.
We may see one before we're finished, but anyway, Pat Boutet's off. It's a power play by Pittsburgh, and they have 3 power play goals in this game so far. Half of their goals have come via the power play.
Penguins set it up. They trail 8-6. The Whalers with 2 goals here in the 3rd period. We have 13:15 to go in the game. Keogh's in deep, tied up by Warren Miller. It's wrapped around. Faubert at the point. Across to Carlisle. He drives one wide. Up the near side. Faubert puts it in front. Barnes knocks it away. And it's clear. Race for the puck. Miller and Lonsberry. Lonsberry across. This is Keogh. Rick Keogh. Back to Faubert. And Faubert across to Randy Carlisle, who carries. Faubert. Faubert drops it for Ross Lonsberry. Has some room. He shoots. Save is made. Rebound, score!
Gardner.
Garrett was out of the net, and Gardner had an open net to put in the backhander. It's 8-7.
Paul Gardner on a backhand shot that deflected. It looked like off the post, and then off one of the defensemen. Garrett makes the save. The backhander looked like it trickled off the skate of one of the Hartford defensemen. Ross Lonsberry, good shot, rebound. Paul Gardner on a backhand shot into the lower part of the open net, and Gardner gets his 10th goal of the season.
2nd goal of the game. I want to correct Eddie. He's number 11. He's got
11, I'm sorry.
So it's just a great wide open game. Lots of scoring, lots of action. 4 power play goals for the Penguins now. And they're looking for the equalizers. They trail 8-7. Boutet sends it up to Sims. Sims puts it into the Pittsburgh zone. Back behind the net. Burrows ties him up. They battle. Down they go. Loose puck. Boutet and Malone. Stoughton throws it through the slot. And it's cleared out to center. Sims for Hartford to Boutet. And into the Pittsburgh zone. Stackhouse bangs it off the boards to center. Greg Malone for Pittsburgh. Tries to head man, shut offside. 11:45 to go in the game. Hartford 8, Pittsburgh 7. We'll be back in a moment. One game, and what a thriller it's been. 8-7 the score. Hartford leading Pittsburgh. McElhargy hit hard by Libet. Unsbury with a puck. Rather, Jim Hamilton. It's loose in the corner. Another check on Libet. And Rogers comes clear for the Whalers. Rogers lead pass for Rose. Is tied up by Johnson. Loose. Carlisle has it for Pittsburgh. Johnson headmans for Libet too far. McElhargy gets to it. Off the boards to Mike Fiddler. And cleared out by the Whalers. Race for the puck is on. Carlisle and Rowe, they come together and bump. Carlisle has the puck. Hamilton wraps him around the other way. Faubert across to Carlisle. Penguins have been involved in some wild games where they've given up 10 goals twice once to Buffalo and once to Vancouver, Eddie, and 8 here tonight.
So far, they have given up in 5 games. They haven't completed the 5th game. 30 goals. That's a lot of goals. That's averaging 6 a game against.
Indeed, Hughes hit by Abrahamson. Up the boards to Tommy Rowe. He's tied by Gary McAdam. And they freeze it. 10:28 to go in the game. Hartford 8, Pittsburgh 7. You know, it seems strange, Eddie. They played some really good games. They played excellent hockey against Montreal, and then they come back and give up 10 goals against Vancouver, 10 against Buffalo, 8 here tonight.
Concentration. Obviously, their game plan is the right one. It's just the execution of it. And this turned out early in the first period to be a complete shootout, a war of goals. And it's fun for the fans. It stayed close. The only thing that would be worse than this is if it was too one-sided, 8-1 or 8-2 or 8-0.
Giveaway. Ferguson shoots safe. Garrett, and he covers up. George Ferguson dead on, looking for the tying goal, was stopped by John Garrett.
Good opportunity for Pittsburgh to tie the game as Norm Barnes loses the puck on a check by number 24, Pat Hughes. Hughes to 11, Ferguson, point blank. He's stopped by Garrett, knocked down from behind by Don Knockbauer. Face off to the left of Garrett.
Whalers. Neufeld is hit by Anderson. And this is Knockbauer across the line. Ferguson on him, ties him up. In the corner, Fatiou plays the puck. Hit by Hughes. Knockbauer up the boards to Barnes. Barnes is checked, throws it in deep. Neufeld in the corner against Stackhouse. It's kicked free. Neufeld centering pass. Save was made by Millen. Off the shot by Knockbauer. McAdam clears it out to center. Neufeld puts it back in the Pittsburgh end. Hughes with the puck. Takes a hard hit from Fatiou. What a hit. Fatiou laid on Pat Hughes. Knocked away by Gardner. Gardner in deep. Looks for help. Gardner's centering pass is blocked. Gardner behind the net. Tries the wraparound. It's knocked away. Gardner in the corner. Digs it free. Side of the net. McAdam to Stackhouse. The shot blocked by Fatiou. Stackhouse across to Anderson. Now Stackhouse for Pittsburgh. Fatiou starting to bang. Gardner centers, and it's knocked away. Rogers has it for Hartford. And out to center it comes. Carlisle has it. 8:50 to go in the game. 8-7, Hartford leading. Carlisle shot blocked by Barnes, who rides Carlisle and Labori. Down goes Barnes. Gardner behind the net. Centering pass intercepted by Rogers. He wraps it around. Boutet tries to clear out and does. Here's Stoughton onside. Stoughton the breakaway. Stoughton shoots. Save. Millen. Stoughton centering pass to Rogers. Score!
Well, it was about time that Mike Rogers got a goal. It seemed it was his turn. His second goal of the game. His 22nd of the season as Stoughton, his own rebound, flips it out to Mike Rogers, 17, as he comes roaring in unmolested. Nobody near him, the goaltender out of the net, and he puts it in the open net.
What a great play by Stoughton. He stopped here by Millen. Goes and gets the puck and just puts it out in front for his partner, Mike Rogers.
Sam, I have to tell you, even you could have put that one in. You're right. Good play by Stoughton. Good pursuit of his own rebound. What Millen was doing that far out of the net, only he can answer. But he was a long way out sprawling to make the save.
9-7, Hartford leads it. Millen puts it in the corner. Greg Millen's going to have nightmares after this game. In front, shot is blocked.
He's having one now. He doesn't have to wait till after.
Here's Shutt across the line with Lee. Shutt ups it back to the point. Burrow's shot, stick to side by Garrett, and knocked into the crowd by Mark Howe. 7:46 to go in the game. Hartford 9, Pittsburgh 7. Mike Rogers, his second goal of the game. 22nd goal of the year. Stoughton and Boutet the assist at 11:33. Rogers with an incredible game with 2 goals and 3 assists. And if you like hockey action, how about Sunday, December 28th, at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and then at 5 Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific for the Great Lakes Invitational in Michigan, where Michigan, Michigan State, Michigan Tech, and Harvard take part in the tournament. The consolation and final games on Monday, December 29th. The final will be 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Nick Patillo, the enforcer, catches number 24, Pat Hughes, as Hughes was trying to get up off balance. Patillo ran right over him, knocking him back down again.
9-7, Hartford leads it. Peter Lee behind the net. Lee, backhander, goes wide. Mark Howe plays it up the boards and cleared out by Warren Miller all the way down. Race for the puck is on. And it's poked back as icing was waved off in center. Here come the Penguins, 3-on-2. Malone, shot, and his shot blocked wide. Malone, centering pass, taken by Jordy Douglas. Here come the Whalers. And a penalty called on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Miller was pulled down in center, and the Whalers will have a man advantage. They have a delayed penalty call. They have an extra skater on ice. Whalers 6-on-5, setting up on the delayed penalty. This is Abrahamson to Barnes. Barnes around to Abrahamson. As they set it up with the extra man on ice, Keon comes up. Rogers leads out and offside. That'll do it. And the penalty is called, and the Whalers have the man advantage. 6:41 to go in the game. Hartford 9, Pittsburgh 7. We'll be back in a moment. Minutes.
Shot gets a 2-minute hooking penalty, so the Hartford Whalers this time get a chance with their power play. Pittsburgh, one of the few times they've been unsuccessful, was the last time they had one a few moments ago.
Abrahamson sends out Stoughton, who fires it in. Whalers with a 2-goal lead. Millen way out of the net to wrap it around. And it's cleared by Faubert all the way down.
Sam, you said we'd seen just about everything in this game but a breakaway, or I should say a penalty shot.
Right.
We almost saw Norm Barnes put a loose puck in his own net. When Garrett had gone off for an extra forward, he shot the puck, almost put it in.
Boutet breaks in, poked away nicely by Millen and cleared by Faubert. Boutet gets it back. Now Abrahamson drives, fakes the shot. Abrahamson in deep, wraps it around the boards. Norm Barnes to the right point. Barnes skates along the blue line, pull the puck out. He's pulled down, no call there. Breakaway, Libert goes in, save Garrett. Out to the point, Carlisle. Well, almost a shorthanded goal. But a big save by John Garrett. Stoughton comes through. He's pulled down, a penalty call. And the Whalers will have a 2-man advantage for 42 seconds.
There are not many things missing from the hockey game. Nick Libet a moment ago on a clear-cut breakaway from center ice is beaten by Garrett.
2 minutes at 14.
Penalty coming up. Hooking penalty on Stoughton. So 2-man advantage. Nick Libet a moment ago on the breakaway. Garrett doesn't look like he's had 7 put by him. Good effort by John Garrett on the save as Nick Libet broke away from center ice. Mark Johnson holding 2 minutes. He could have got it for hooking. Either way, he's in there. 42 seconds. They'll be 2 men short.
5-on-3 advantage for the Whalers. 5:22 to go in the game, and Hartford leading it 9-7. Loose puck along the boards. Miller has it in deep. Jordy Douglas out to Mark Howe. Across to Al Sims. Now to Howe. Howe fires. It's saved. Rebound. It's under Millen. 28 seconds to go. The penalty to Rod Schutt. And 1:47 to go in the penalty to Mark Johnson. Hartford with 2 goals in the first period, 4 in the second, 3 here in the third.
Greg Millen, 5'9", 160 pounds. He's going to lose a few of those pounds tonight. 23 years old. You think he's a little disillusioned about the NHL?
Or maybe about goaltending. Mark Howe Two-man advantage. Fires, deflection. Keon is safe. Rebound. Loose in the crease and knocked away and cleared. Miller just couldn't poke it in. 10 seconds to go in the first penalty for Rod Schutt. Sims on the rush. Sims goes in. Sims looking, centering pass. Miller knocked away. It's 5-on-4. Rod Schutt is back. Puck knocked into the bench. Stopping play with 4:34 to go in the game. 1:13 in the penalty to Mark Johnson.
Greg Millen playing in his 27th game this season. His goals against average 4.38, and that has to take quite a jump ahead. And for goaltenders, that is one of their big worries. Their goals against record, 4.38 for Millen, and with 9 here tonight, that's going to do a lot of damage to his goals against average, which was not very good to start with.
Whalers with a man advantage. Jordy Douglas behind the net, racked up by Russ Anderson. Stackhouse wraps it around. Sims keeps it in at the line. Ahead from Miller. Miller hit by Stackhouse. Keon. And it's cleared by Ferguson all the way down. 45 seconds to go on the Hartford power play. They lead 9-7. They trailed at 1.5-3. Poked away from Stoughton. Loose puck. Stoughton picks it up. Stoughton across to Sims. Sims sends it out. Mike Rogers loses to Lonsberry, who clears. 20 seconds to go in the Hartford power play. 3:40 to go in the game. 9-7. Hartford leading it. Loose puck. Stoughton sends it back in his own end. Howe picks it up. That'll just about do it for the Hartford power play. Howe up the right side to Stoughton. Now Rogers loses. Picked up by Sims. Team's back at full strength. Howe to the line. Loses on a poke check. Malone with Gobert. Malone across the line. Pulls up and shoots. Save is made by Garrett. The deflected shot almost knuckled in. Carlisle puts it in deep. Stopped by Garrett for Mark Howe. Up the boards to Stoughton. And Stoughton sends it out to center to Abrahamson. Abrahamson beats Boutet. In front. Knocked away by Millen. Abrahamson in the corner. In front for Boutet. Couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Lee breaking back for Pittsburgh. Lee across the line. Pulls up. Throws it in front. It's knocked away by Abrahamson. Schutt along the boards with Boutet. Schutt comes out. Centering pass. Lee's shot is blocked. Picked up by Stoughton. And he clears it down. Sam Rosen with Eddie Westfall live at the Hartford Civic Center as you watch the Hartford Whalers and the Pittsburgh Penguins on ESPN, your leading television network for hockey action.
2:24 left in the third period. 9-7, Hartford leading Pittsburgh.
Penguins down 2 goals. Burrows fires, it's off the skate, comes back into the Pittsburgh end. 2:10 to go. Rick Keogh with the puck. Poked ahead. Garrett leaves it for Norm Barnes. Lonsberry puts it in deep. This is Paul Gardner. Stackhouse shoots. It's off the stick. Karam's off the glass. 1:50 to go in the game. Whalers just throw it out. This is Dave Burrows with Warren Miller on him. Out to center. Gardner picked up by Douglas. Douglas throws it in. 1:35 to go. Dave Burrows for Pittsburgh. Throws it down to the Hartford zone. Rogers pokes it ahead. Carlisle breaks it up. Offside, Hartford offside. 1:22 to go.
Don't forget, Steve, your season at the end of tonight.
With Hartford leading Pittsburgh 9-7. We were tied 2-2 end of 1, 6-6 end of 2. And the Whalers with 3 goals here in the third period lead at 9-7. Shots on goal, Hartford 37, Pittsburgh 32.
I didn't think there was any of them stopped, Sam. I thought they all went in, but it's 37 for Hartford, 32 for Pittsburgh. That doesn't count the ones that did go in.
That's right. Loose. Fired on net. Millen makes the save. Loose along the boards. Stoughton pokes it out to Howe. They battle in center. Boutet picks it up. Comes across the line.
1 minute to play in
Less than a minute to go in the game. Randy Carlisle behind the net. Now Faubert for Pittsburgh. Blocked by Stoughton. Stoughton looking for more. Boutet tied up by Faubert. Ferguson for Pittsburgh. Stoughton back behind the net. Millen wraps it around. Mark Johnson pokes it out to center. Half a minute to go in the game. Rogers fans on the pass. Johnson's pass intercepted by Howe. Stoughton breaks across the line. Stoughton, save, rebound. Millen's on top. Well, Blaine Stoughton was looking for the hat trick.
Good opportunity, and Greg Millen makes one of his few saves as Stoughton all alone. He's got Pat Boutet, the closest player. Millen makes a fine save. You can see by the save why he has problems with rebounds. He's down on each save he makes. As Blaine Stoughton takes the shot, Pat Boutet tries to get something for the rebound, is foiled as Greg Millen makes a last-ditch stand to keep it from getting to double numbers. 9-7, Hartford over Pittsburgh, 20 seconds left. Here in the third period, Pittsburgh has called a timeout.
Well,
a game like this, why not? You never know. You may get the guys back at the bench, get one quick one, and you never know.
I think Eddie is coming up with key strategy here. He's telling the guys, listen, can you score 2 goals in 20 seconds? Go out and do it. 20 seconds to go in the game. Greg Millen and John Garrett just have to be shaking their heads the entire night. 9-7 the score.
I think it'd be only fair if you let the goaltenders take a shot at each other.
I think that would be good.
They're the only ones that haven't had a shot on the net tonight.
Maybe if it was still tied, Eddie, to decide the tie, they'd have the goalies go one-on-one against each other. Well, the Whalers better tighten up their defense because tomorrow night, Saturday night, come the Islanders to town. And if the Penguins can score 7, what can the Islanders do?
I think they'll play a much different game.
I would say they have to. All the way down it comes. Millen goes to the bench. And we get a touch for icing. And Millen will go back in the goal.
What they were trying to do there, Sam, Carlisle shot the puck down the ice quickly along the near boards, hoping that it would circle the net or the goaltender would touch it. And the right winger, Peter Lee, moving in quickly, trying to touch it ahead of any of the Whalers. That would allow the goaltender to get to the bench. Eddie Johnson, the coach, would be able to get his extra attacker on with the puck in the Whalers' end of the ice.
10 seconds to go in the game. Cleared all the way down. Millen heads for the bench. Garrett plays the puck up the boards. Loose puck behind. Keogh comes out. It's all over. The final score, the Hartford Whalers 9, the Pittsburgh Penguins 7. We'll be back in just a moment.
He does not want it.